Welcome to a deep dive
Okay.
into this book, To Light One Candle, Universal Prayers for Peace.
Mm.
It's full of all kinds of prayers and stanzas and mantras from
Yeah.
different Eastern traditions, and they're all about cultivating peace
Hmm.
and finding peace. And I'm excited to explore how these ancient practices
Yeah.
can help us find peace not just within ourselves, but also in the world around us.
Well, and it's fascinating how the book really dives into like the heart of Jain, Buddhist, and Hindu philosophies.
Right.
And it's showing us that this pursuit of peace is like this universal human yearning that's woven into the very fabric of all these traditions.
Yeah. And the book kicks off with this
Hmm.
powerful Chinese proverb: it is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness.
Yeah.
It's a call to action, isn't it? It's saying, like,
Yeah.
let's actually do something instead of just complaining about how bad things are.
Exactly. The book really emphasizes that creating peace is a conscious decision,
Right.
and it's a commitment to purifying our minds. And it's not about passively wishing for a better world, but really actively working towards it, starting with ourselves.
So how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
The book talks about daily practices for cultivating peace,
Yeah.
and I'm particularly intrigued by this idea of mantras and mudras. What are they, and how can they help us on this path to peace?
Well, think of mantras like sound vibrations
Okay.
that create a specific energy within and around us.
Okay.
They're more than just words. They're really tools to focus the mind and connect with a deeper sense of peace. So, you know,
So it's like hitting the reset button on your mind.
exactly.
Okay.
And mudras are hand gestures that complement the mantras. So they're like yoga for your hands, helping to channel the energy flow in your body. So you've got these two practices working together, the sound of the mantra and the physical form of the mudra, and they create like this powerful synergy for inner peace.
That's a really interesting way to think about it. So it's not just about reciting words,
It's
but it's about engaging your entire being in this practice.
precisely.
Okay.
And, the book actually mentions that according to ancient masters,
Yeah.
there are 72,000 subtle energy frequencies in the human body.
Wow.
And mantras, when chanted correctly, can actually harmonize these frequencies.
72,000.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It
It
is.
makes you realize how complex and interconnected our energy system
It
is.
really does.
Yeah.
And the book provides, specific examples of mantras and mudras that we can incorporate into our daily lives.
Okay.
One that I find particularly beautiful is from the Tharanyaka Upanishad.
Mm.
Masato Masad Gamaya, Tamaso Majyotir Gamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya.
It sounds so peaceful even without knowing what it means. What does that translate to?
It translates to, O Supreme Consciousness, from untruth to truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to deathless bliss. Lead us.
It's like a journey of transformation from the limitations of our current state to a place of liberation and bliss.
Exactly. And it highlights that this journey isn't about seeking peace in some far-off place,
Right.
but about transforming our inner world, bringing light to the darkness within.
Which brings us to the first
Hmm?
of the four beautiful qualities that the book explores, which is Maitri,
Yes.
or metta in Pali. How does the concept of Maitri differ from our conventional understanding of kindness?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
While kindness might be seen as a more surface-level expression of good intentions,
Okay.
Maitri goes deeper. It's about cultivating a profound sense of loving kindness
Right.
that permeates our entire being, and it's about recognizing the shared life force that connects us all, seeing ourselves in others,
Right.
and extending that same loving energy to them.
So it's not just about being nice to people,
I know.
but it's about cultivating a genuine sense of love and connection with all beings.
Exactly. And this is beautifully expressed in
Yeah.
a Jain prayer from the Jain Yoga Shastra by Amachandracharya. That mavatsava buchesu sukhaduke priya priya chintayanatmanazam himsamanyasya nacheret.
That is beautiful.
It is.
What does that translate to?
It translates to, all living beings are souls, alive and conscious, just like me. As I like to be happy and do not like to be in pain, in the same way, all beings like to be happy and do not like to be in pain. By keeping this insight at the core of my being, I will not cause any harm, pain, or loss of life to any living being.
That's such a powerful reminder that every being, regardless of their form or species,
Right.
shares the same fundamental desire for happiness and freedom from suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And if we truly internalize that understanding,
Yeah.
it naturally leads to a more compassionate and nonviolent way of being in the world.
It does.
And this reminds me of a quote I heard recently
Yeah.
that said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." It's just a reminder that we never truly know what others are going through.
We don't.
And cultivating Maitri
Yeah.
helps us approach each interaction with a more understanding and compassionate heart.
Absolutely. And it's about fostering a sense of interconnectedness, recognizing that our actions impact others.
Right.
And that by cultivating Maitri, we contribute to a more harmonious and peaceful world.
So how do we actually cultivate Maitri in our daily lives?
Yeah.
Is it something we can practice? Or is it more of like an innate quality that some people have and some people don't?
It's definitely something we can cultivate
Right.
through practice. The book offers various practices for cultivating Maitri, like loving kindness meditations,
Right.
where we intentionally send feelings of love and goodwill to ourselves, to loved ones, to strangers, and even to those we find difficult.
Okay. So we can actually train our minds to be more loving and compassionate. It's not just about like hoping for the best. It's about actually putting in the effort to cultivate these qualities.
Exactly. And as we practice Maitri,
Okay.
we start to notice a shift
Yeah.
in our perceptions and in our interactions. We become more patient, more understanding, more forgiving, not just towards others, but also towards ourselves.
It's like we're creating this ripple effect
Yes.
of kindness and compassion,
Exactly.
starting with our own hearts, and then it extends outwards into the world.
And you know what's fascinating is that the next quality explored in the book, Pramoda,
Okay.
or mudita in Pali, actually builds upon this foundation of Maitri.
Oh, that's interesting. What is Pramoda, and how does it relate to Maitri?
Pramoda or mudita in Pali translates to sympathetic joy or appreciative joy.
Okay.
So while Maitri focuses on cultivating loving kindness towards all beings, Pramoda encourages us to rejoice in the happiness and virtues of others.
Okay.
So it's about celebrating the successes of others as if they were our own,
Wow.
finding joy in their well-being.
So it's about shifting our focus outward,
It is.
appreciating the goodness we see in others, instead of getting caught up in our own like perceived shortcomings or
Yeah.
comparing ourselves to others. That sounds like a great antidote to envy and jealousy.
It absolutely is. And it complements Maitri's beautifully because when we genuinely rejoice in the happiness of others,
Right.
it actually strengthens our connection to them.
Yeah.
And it expands our capacity for love and compassion, making the world a brighter place.
That makes a lot of sense. So instead of feeling threatened or envious when someone else succeeds,
Right.
we can choose to celebrate their achievements and feel happy for them.
Yeah.
It's just a much more positive and uplifting way to approach life.
It is.
Yeah.
And the book shares a stanza from the Jain Yoga Shastra, again by Himachanacharya,
Right.
that beautifully captures this idea. Ajana timidantanand yananyana shalakya nitramun miliktam yanatasmai shirgurave nama.
Wow. Can you translate that for us?
It translates to, the darkness of ignorance was blinding my vision. A healing paste has now been applied, the medicine of true knowledge. Now my inner eyes are open. To each master who helped me remove my layers of ignorance and enabled me to see rightly, I humbly offer my appreciation and gratitude.
That's such a beautiful and evocative image. I love the symbolism of the inner eyes being opened, suggesting that knowledge and wisdom can dispel the darkness of ignorance
Right.
and help us see the world more clearly.
Yeah.
Like it's removing a veil that was obscuring our vision, and then we can finally see the truth.
It is.
Yeah. And it also highlights the importance of gratitude,
Yes.
especially towards our teachers,
Yeah.
who help us on this journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. And that sense of gratitude is a key element of Pramoda, wouldn't you say? When we appreciate the efforts of others, when we express gratitude for the good things in our lives, it creates like a positive feedback loop.
Right.
It nurtures our own inner peace, and it strengthens our relationships with those around us.
It does. It's about acknowledging the interconnectedness of life, recognizing that we are all part of this larger web of giving and receiving,
Yeah.
teaching and learning.
Right.
And when we cultivate Pramoda, we tap into the joy and abundance that flows through this web, experiencing a deeper sense of connection and fulfillment.
It's like we're all interconnected in this beautiful tapestry of life,
Yeah.
and each thread is contributing to the overall beauty and complexity of the design.
Right.
And by appreciating the unique beauty of each thread, each individual, we enhance the richness and vibrancy of the whole tapestry.
That's a wonderful analogy. And this sense of appreciation, this ability to rejoice in the happiness and virtues of others, naturally leads us to the next quality explored in the book,
Okay.
karuna,
Okay.
which means compassion.
Karuna, compassion, it feels like such a core element of peace, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You know, if Maitri is about cultivating love and Pramoda is about sharing joy,
Right.
karuna is about acknowledging and responding to suffering.
Okay.
It goes beyond simply feeling sympathy.
Right.
It's really about a deep, empathetic connection that motivates us to alleviate that suffering whenever we encounter it.
So it's not just feeling bad for someone, it's feeling with them and
Exactly.
wanting to help.
Precisely. Imagine you see a stray animal struggling on the side of the road. Sympathy might make you feel sad for the animal,
Right.
but compassion would actually compel you to stop
Yeah, okay.
and see if you can help. That's
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Karuna moves us to action.
Yeah. It's about translating our empathy into tangible action, actually taking steps to alleviate suffering wherever we can. And I'm reminded of a quote by the Dalai Lama that said, "Our prime purpose in this life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them." It speaks to that active element of compassion.
It does. And the book highlights a beautiful prayer from the Skandapur that embodies this selfless spirit of karuna.
Yeah.
Natvaham kamaya rajam nasvaragam napunarhavam kamaya dukha taptanam praninamartimochanam.
I would love to hear the translation for this.
It translates to, not for any kingdom do I long, not for the kingdom of heaven, not even for freedom from the endless cycle of birth and death. For one and only one thing do I long, to free living beings from their agony and sorrow and to wipe away their tears.
Wow. To prioritize the alleviation of suffering above all else, even like personal liberation.
Right.
It just speaks volumes about the depth of compassion embedded in that prayer.
It does. And it's even more remarkable. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's even more remarkable that this was one of Mahatma Gandhi's favorite prayers.
Makes sense, right? I mean, Gandhi's life was a testament to the transformative power of compassion and nonviolence. And this prayer perfectly encapsulates his unwavering dedication to serving humanity and alleviating suffering.
It's a humbling reminder that true fulfillment comes not from personal gain, but from contributing to the well-being of others.
Yeah.
It shifts our perspective from what's in it for me to how can I help?
Yeah.
And that seems like such a crucial step in cultivating inner peace and creating a more peaceful world.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting is that while the previous qualities, Maitri, Pramoda, and Karuna, require like this active engagement with the world and its inhabitants, the final quality that's explored in the book takes a slightly different approach.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
This final quality is Madhyastha, or Upekkha in Pali, and it represents equanimity. And it's the ability to maintain inner balance and peace amidst like the ever-changing circumstances of life.
Okay.
While the other qualities encourage us to actively engage with the world, Madhyastha reminds us of the importance of cultivating inner stillness and detachment.
So it's about finding a sense of peace within ourselves.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's happening around us.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everything is impermanent, constantly changing and evolving.
Okay.
And when we cling to things, to people, to outcomes,
Yeah.
we set ourselves up for suffering.
Right.
Because inevitably things will change.
Yeah.
But when we cultivate equanimity, we learn to let go of attachment and to accept the flow of life, finding peace in the midst of impermanence.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, "This too shall pass." It's a reminder that no matter how good or bad things seem at the moment, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
And holding onto that perspective can be incredibly grounding.
It can.
Especially during challenging times.
Precisely. And the book shares a verse from the Buddhist Dhammapada 277 that really illustrates this concept beautifully.
Okay.
Sabi sankara anicatya dapanyaya yapasati atanibindati dukkesa magovisutya.
I bet that's filled with wisdom. What does it translate to?
It translates to, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one perceives this deeply, with true insight, then one becomes detached from suffering. This is the path of purification, the way to freedom.
It's a profound reminder that suffering arises from our attachment to things that are impermanent. And by recognizing the transient nature of all phenomena, we can loosen our grip on these attachments and actually find liberation from suffering.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It's like freeing ourselves from the chains that bind us to this illusion of permanence.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this understanding, this cultivation of equanimity, is what allows us to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience. It's about finding that still point within ourselves that remains undisturbed by the storms of life.
It is. It's like an anchor that keeps us grounded amidst all the turbulence,
Yeah.
allowing us to weather any storm
Right.
without being swept away by like those waves of emotion.
Yeah.
You know, it strikes me that while each of these qualities has its own unique focus,
Yeah.
they really all contribute to that same goal, cultivating inner peace.
They do.
Maitri connects us to others through love. Pramodha expands our capacity for joy. Karuna moves us to alleviate suffering.
Right.
And Madhyastha allows us to find peace within ourselves regardless of like those external circumstances.
That's a brilliant observation. They're like different facets of the same gem, each one reflecting a different aspect of peace.
They are. And when we cultivate all four,
Yeah.
we create a much more holistic and balanced approach to living a peaceful and meaningful life.
Isn't that like the ultimate goal? To find a sense of peace that permeates every aspect of our being,
Absolutely.
influencing our thoughts and our words and our actions.
And this sense of inner peace isn't just beneficial for ourselves, it radiates outwards,
Right.
impacting our relationships and creating a more peaceful and harmonious environment for everyone around us.
It's like that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Exactly.
We can't wait for others to create peace. We have to embody it ourselves.
Yeah.
And cultivating these four qualities, Maitri, Pramodha, Karuna, and Madhyastha, it gives us the tools to do just that.
Precisely. And to light one candle is just a wonderful guidebook
Yeah.
for this journey. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, a single candle,
Right.
a single prayer
You
can
can-
make a difference.
It can.
And it really empowers us to become like beacons of peace, illuminating the path for ourselves and others.
It's inspiring to think about the potential we each hold to be peacemakers in our own way.
Right.
It doesn't have to be these grand gestures.
It doesn't.
Sometimes the smallest acts can create the biggest shifts.
Absolutely. Even a simple smile, a kind word, a moment of listening without judgment. These seemingly small acts can have a profound impact on those around us.
It's like that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world. We can't wait for others to create peace. We have to embody it ourselves.
And the beauty of it is, as we cultivate inner peace,
Right.
it naturally radiates outwards,
Yeah.
influencing our interactions with others, creating a more harmonious environment.
It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Our inner peace becomes contagious, you know?
Yeah.
And I think To Light One Candle is just a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to start cultivating that inner peace and contributing to a more peaceful world.
It is. It's a book that you can revisit time and time again.
Right.
And it offers new insights and inspiration each time you read it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like a one-time read. It's really a companion for the journey.
And you know what I love about it? It doesn't just prescribe like
Yeah.
very specific prayers or rituals.
Yeah. It doesn't.
It encourages us to find what resonates most deeply with us.
It recognizes that each individual's path to peace is unique, and what works for one person might not resonate with another.
Yeah.
The book really serves as like a guide, offering this diverse range of practices from different traditions, and it invites us to explore and discover what feels most authentic and powerful for our own hearts.
And that's something I would encourage you to do as you're listening to this. Like really think about what stood out to you.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that mantra we discussed earlier,
Right.
or perhaps that Jain prayer about recognizing that shared desire for happiness in all beings.
Yeah.
Take some time to reflect on those pieces that really spark something within you.
And remember, cultivating these qualities is an ongoing practice.
It is.
It's not about like achieving some perfect state of constant bliss.
Right.
There will be challenges and moments of frustration and times when we fall short of our aspirations, but, you know, that's all part of the process.
Yeah, it's about showing up every day with intention.
Awareness and with a commitment to actually aligning our actions with these values of loving kindness, appreciation, compassion, and equanimity.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Beautifully said. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but I want to leave you with one thought-provoking question to ponder as you go about your day.
Okay.
What other practices, beyond the ones mentioned in the book, can we incorporate into our lives to cultivate inner peace and contribute to a more peaceful world? Perhaps it's spending time in nature or practicing gratitude or even just offering a listening ear to someone in need.
That's an excellent question to contemplate. And remember, the journey towards peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's a collective one. It's a journey that we embark on together.
Yeah, yeah.
And every act of kindness,
Yeah.
every moment of compassion, every choice we make to embrace peace
Yeah.
is a step towards a brighter, more harmonious world for all.
So as you move forward, remember the wisdom that's shared in To Light One Candle.
Yeah.
Embrace the power of these universal prayers and let your own light shine brightly, illuminating the path towards a more peaceful and compassionate world.
May peace prevail within you, and may peace prevail in the world.